God, painful is bad. Hello, everybody. Welcome to June 10th. It's a Wednesday. I'm Kelly Baltzell. I'm the CEO and owner of Beyond Indigo Pets today. Since it is a Wednesday, we have Dr. Jess Trimble. She is all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed here, speaking about telehealth and what's kind of new in telehealth today. So she'll have a news item and kind of a tip and a need item. And of course, Jess and I always talk our earning at the end because that is our marketing to self. So there you have it. Jess, take it away.
Oh, thank you. I really enjoy these every Wednesday. It's so fun. Plus, it forces me to really reach out and see what is going on right on that cutting edge. And something that I wanted to share with everybody is the Bowman Report. So this is something that actually happened last summer as far as the interviews go, but they put together a phenomenal little booklet that is basically a conversation and discussion around all things controversial in telehealth. And so I did this interview last year with James Penrod and Dr. Lori Teller. So if you don't know Lori and James, they are just pillars of the veterinary profession. They're wonderful. James, his whole mission has just been supporting and advancing the regulatory process in vet med. And Lori has had this crazy awesome career. I kind of want to be here when I grow up. And now she works at Texas A&M teaching telehealth specifically. And so we have very different viewpoints, the three of us, on telehealth, which is why the conversation is really interesting to read. And so we know in veterinary medicine, while the rules sort of state black and white, there's a lot of gray area in between. And what we're doing in this report is really just having a discussion of the gray areas. And so if you are interested in sort of understanding the intricacies and details of what we are trying to figure out when it comes to writing new guidelines and creating these new regulations, this is the report to read. So we talk about VCPR and whether or not we should have separate VCPRs, like one in person and one electronic, or if it's all the same VCPR. It's kind of an interesting conversation there. We also sort of provide tips of what we've seen personally. We talk a little bit about marketing and how bad veterinarians tend to be about marketing themselves, as well as marketing their services, and how telehealth just won't be successful without really good marketing, as well as admitting that we are worth it. We have a lot of value in providing advice and education through telehealth, and thus we should be charging for our time. So again, it's just a wonderful conversation to read, and we'll give you sort of a behind the scenes look at what we're considering when we are struggling and muddling through the gray areas when it comes to veterinary telemedicine. So from here, let's skip over to the tip of the day. So here we're going to talk about artificial intelligence. Now, in the human side, artificial intelligence has been used for the last 10 years or so, mostly in radiology. And so looking at CT scans, MRIs, and X-rays of lungs specifically has been the main area of focus. Because obviously, as we're bringing something like artificial intelligence in to the medical field, it takes a lot of studies to ensure that this artificial intelligence system is performing at the same level as boarded radiologists. And in these studies, they're finding that these artificially intelligent systems are absolutely consistent. They're just above the average of human radiologists. And so this was a study that was done with just 2,000 images. And how this works is we have an image and it has a diagnosis. And you provide this artificially intelligent system thousands of these, and eventually it learns what it looks like, what the diagnosis is, and it can then compare. And so that study was done with just 2,000. There are now veterinary radiology companies that can provide you artificial intelligent reports based on 8 to 20 million images, meaning they're really incredibly accurate and probably far better than I have ever been at reading an X-ray. And so they're finding, for lung cancers, but if you look at the slide, and it's a little hard to see, on the one side, that's a mammogram. And on the other side is actually histological slides. So those are slices of tissue. And so what these systems are doing are basically just highlighting. They're putting a little square over a section saying, hey, this part's alarming. We're seeing a lot of cells that look like these cells that we saw in this other picture. And so they're not necessarily diagnosing, but they're aiding in the diagnosis and making that diagnosis so much faster. And this is already in the veterinary world, both for radiology as well as for cytology. There are companies that now are doing digital cytology, and that computer can pick out clusters of irregular cells on your slides to help you move faster. And so a lot of the bigger hospitals are really starting to embrace this because they're finding that it is making their team incredibly efficient. It's not taking the diagnosis away from the doctor, but rather now the technicians can do a lot more. They can, get those slides together and get it prepared, and then the doctor only has to look at this one little section of concern rather than scanning entire slides. And so you can go from 20 minutes staring at an X-ray to 2 minutes staring at an X-ray, and then see an extra patient. And so that's what we're going to be seeing with a lot of these new technologies. We're going to be able to move so much faster and so much more efficiently. And then with our telehealth capabilities, be able to improve access to care. We're now being able to open up access to care just through more efficiency and time, as well as through the internet. And there are millions and millions of pets that will benefit from this now and get care that couldn't get care before. So I can soapbox on AI and wearables and data and how much it's going to change our profession in the next 5 to 10 years, because it's something that unfortunately they're not teaching in veterinary schools, and I think is going to majorly change how veterinarians practice in the future. So don't forget about artificial intelligence. It is coming, and it is a part of telehealth, and it will make everything you do so much more efficient. So do a little research, give it a try. I would really encourage you to look it up. There's some cool stuff happening out there right now.
I cannot unmute. There, I can't unmute. I was like, wait a minute. I keep pushing the mute button. It's not going anywhere.
One of those days.
One of those days. It's so one of those days. So I was sitting there thinking, are we just Star Trek technology yet? Because where somebody lies down, you get the little wand, and then it shows up, and there's like, yeah, so this is what it is, and then another wand doohickey, and then you're done. You're cured.
Did you know that there's actually a contest around that? It's a worldwide contest. I forget what it's called, but I believe they call that little device, it's like a recoder or something. But there is a contest, and I think the winner gets 10 million or some obscene amount of money if they can create something that can be like a handheld diagnostic device. And there's been some really interesting inventions that have come out of that contest. It's kind of
No, that's kind of cool, actually, because that would be really neat when I was listening to the AI, because you don't want AI to take over your world, but you want it to be helpful, right? There's a balance there between scary AI and helpful AI.
Yep.
And I'm definitely on the helpful side versus the scary side of things. Yeah, no, cool. I didn't know anything about that. Again, I was still stuck on watching Star Trek.
Science fiction is just really our future. We tend to do all of that stuff. So it'll be here someday.
Hopefully sooner than later, because that would be really nice, right?
It would be. But, when we don't have all of the fancy AI and scientific stuff to work on, we garden instead.
We garden instead. So tell us about, because you left me hanging with your boxes, and it's been so beautiful out and so weird. We were 95 on Monday, and now we're in the 70s today here at Minnesota, which just does amazing things, not only for yourself, but nature outside. And nature is so healing. It just really brings peace back inside and a sense of balance. Because I noticed myself that if there's a day where all of a sudden all it is screen, and then I just collapse and go to bed, I'm not as fulfilled or happy inside. Mm-hmm. And then I go, okay, Kelly, you screwed up the balance today. You didn't get enough non-screen time, non-nature time. And then I feel it. I really do feel it inside myself. And then I try not to get, too bummed out and go, okay, you'll do better tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day, right? So what do you have for us for your fulfillment and you're getting out in the sun out there in Colorado?
Well, the sun's been weird. We, like you, have had some wacky weather. It was in the 90s, and then we had a cold front come through and a windstorm. Thankfully, the weather stayed okay for us, but Larimer, which is just a 45-minute drive north, got 7 inches of snow. So that we missed that. But this is sort of a chronology of one of my raised beds. I just love seeing how fast it all grows. So you're looking at there's tomatoes and peppers and green beans and some Swiss chard and lettuce in that bed. They're looking a little sad today because that windstorm really whipped them. But I've got a couple other beds in there as well. So this is the very first raised bed that I've ever built, and everything seems to be pretty happy in it right now. So excited for end of the summer when it's all 5 feet tall and there's tomatoes everywhere. I planted too many tomatoes.
That's easy to do. I always say about plants, it's amazing to me how we've got nothing from Mother Nature. Because if we had to be stuck outside with our roots buried in the soil over the winter, I wouldn't live.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, right? Like, I would not survive like these organisms do, these plants, everything in Mother Nature. We kind of get ourselves superior sometimes, thinking we're all that in a bag of chips as humans. But in reality, it gets 50 below here in Minnesota with wind chill. And these tiny little plants come back and produce amazing things. I have some plants that grow 6 feet tall every year. They're wild sunflowers, native sunflowers to Minnesota.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm not capable of that much survival.
Well, you are a mammal.
Yeah, I'm a mammal, and I get that, right, as an organism, and I have different needs. But when you look at it, you're like, I don't have nothing on that plant because I have to build a structure to survive, right? I can't just assimilate sunlight to survive. I need a secondary source to survive on that sort of situation. I can't go days without water. But, our plants do, right?
Yeah, incredible.
It's incredible when you think about it. And then, did you hear about the singing flowers?
Singing?
Flowers. So I'll have to bring this up and maybe show everybody on maybe next Wednesday. It's a YouTube video, and I'll send it to you, where a scientist has gone to the rainforest and put sensors on plants, and the sensors translated into music because they figured out that's what they were doing. And the plants will sing for them when they come up to them. And then they will start singing through the speakers.
Yes. Oh, cool.
It is really cool to hear how, and then they go to sleep for a while, but they do recognize people when they come up and everything. So isn't that pretty cool?
How interesting. Yeah, I think as time goes on, we're going to find more and more research about how, I don't want to say sentient plants are, but the fact that they communicate with each other and they do feel pain, research has shown, and it's really going to be interesting, the research coming out about plant consciousness.
I know, but ecosystems, right? Intelligences, and the same with forests, the trees in the forest, whatever that English word is. That they communicate through their roots. And so that the older trees are not the ones you should be cutting down, it's the younger ones, because the older ones do hold the wisdom. Yeah. All right, well, until next Wednesday, I'm going to dig up that singing plant thing. Maybe
I'd love to see it.
All right, well, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.